Hey there, it's Mr. King, and I'm here to talk to you today about setting the bar for your kids. When you set the bar for your kids, usually you set it based on an expectation. The expectation that you've taught them something, and now that they've achieved it, they should be able to achieve that each and every time. And I'm here to tell you that is incorrect. If you think about the times that you've made mistakes and have kind of beat yourself up over them, like, why can't I get that right? Or why won't I read this? Or why won't I do that? Why do I keep doing this? Why is that habit built into me? Probably because of the way that you were raised, and probably because of the way that they were raised. That is, your parents, or whoever your grown up was. Because you're setting this bar and you're saying, you achieve this or I'm going to be upset. Now you're going to get yourself upset, which then turns into trauma for your kids, because you're going to outlash or speak out or hold grudges or be in contempt towards your kids or towards your family. When you set that bar, that expectation to a place because they've achieved something and you hold it there, you're setting yourself up for failure. My oldest sons, they are going to be 20 and 21 this year. I set the bar for them very high so many times, and it got me so frustrated, especially because I came from a parenting style that knock it out of the park or you're in trouble. And even though my parents loved me, there was a lot of consequence, and there was a lot of feeling like I was bad, not good enough. I've had to deal with that as growing into an adult and understanding their traumas and through their childhood. So I'm not blaming, but I am saying that you have an option to seek help and find out about yourself and see what are some of the harboring areas, things that you've buried. And maybe even talk to your parents too and say, hey, did you know that this was here for me? How was it for you? And what was it like when you grew up? And maybe get connected with your parents in that type of way, just so they can kind of see where they came from, and then maybe they can hear you a little bit easier when you tell some hard things that you've found out about yourself through this journey. Because we do have a responsibility to leave a legacy and also stop some of those past traumas instead of passing them on. So setting that bar with my boys, I just was very disciplined. Like, you gotta do it, do what I say or else. And I remember just being so frustrated and angry. But then when I would go to God and he would reach into my heart and I would tell him about how much I love my kids, it would break my heart and go, you love them so much that you want the best for them, but the best is not you being so hard on them and pushing them and making them into something. God told me, just soften that part, soften your edges, soften your heart, and instead of pushing them, guide them, pull them, set a bar that's reachable every time. And if they don't reach it, that doesn't make them bad. You don't have to push them to that bar, but you can encourage them, you can motivate them, you can inspire them, and there could be consequences. I'm not saying just let them sit, let them be lazy, by any means. But setting the bar so high because they hit it one time doesn't mean that's the only standard. I'm saying this because I want to encourage you that there is another way. My bonus boys, I'm able to teach them in a totally different manner now. I'm able to have patience and hold my tongue and not say the things that just my flesh wants to say. And because, I've got an attitude and I'm angry, so I need you to know about it. No, I mean, they're kids, and kids are kids. They're different than adults. I mean, I always see it like this. Kids and adults are kind of against each other in that kids are not adults and adults are not kids. Like the adults want to tell the kids what to do and the kids want to do whatever they want to do. It's two totally different ways of thinking. But if you can get on the level of a kid and say, hey, I'm not here to tell you what to do, but I am going to make sure that you understand what needs to be done and that there could be a consequence if you don't do it. And that's on you as a kid, because I'm teaching you how to become a grown-up one day. But you don't have to be a grown-up today. So I'm not going to force you into doing so much. I'm not going to force you to hit the bar every time. But when you do hit that bar, when you can actually go beyond the expectation, oh, we're gonna celebrate, man. We're gonna make this a big deal instead of like, well, you're supposed to hit that. You're supposed to know to do that. I mean, gosh, what a hard life for a kid to have their biggest fan saying, well, you were already supposed to do that, so I have no reward for that. That was already supposed to happen. But what a better thing for you to walk into work and because you got there on time, your boss isn't going, hey, you're supposed to be there on time, but it's good to see you today. I'm glad you're here. I can't do it without you. Think of that. That's an amazing way to walk into work, right? Well, the same thing with your kids, except they haven't had these life experiences of calluses yet. Why build their calluses into a negative way? Why not build their calluses in like this grit of, I can do it. I want to do it. I want to do it for you because I get rewarded for it. And we celebrate the victory of hitting the bar. So I hope this encourages you today that you don't have to force it, all right? The relationship that you're building with your kids can be tender, and it can be guided. And there can be awards, celebration, and consequences without you being so upset and aggravated and angry and confused and running away and back into your own traumas. Like, I know, like, and I say all these things. I'm not perfect. I go through all the same feelings you do. Blood pressure goes up and feeling like that fight inside of me, but that doesn't mean that I need to put that into my kids. I can stop and think, think before you speak, but stop to think and, build these kids in a way that your grandkids are going to get the benefits.